So today we are going to cover the topic building paintings and book. So let us do a quick revision of the chapter, that is building paintings and book. First one topic is the iron pillar. Now what is the iron pillar? The iron pillar is a remarkable example of ancient Indian metallurgy located in the Qutub Minar complex in New Delhi. Now what is the key feature of our iron pillar? So the iron pillar is made of wrought iron and its height is around 7.2 meters, that is a 23 feet. Its weight over 3 ton and the weight is 3 ton. It was made about 1500 years ago and there is an inscription in Sanskrit mentioning ruler named Chandra who probably belonged to the Gupta dynasty. Iron pillar shows the advanced scientific and metallurgical skills of ancient India. It is considered as a symbol of strength and stability. So that's why iron pillar is famous. It is in New Delhi and it is made up of wrought iron. Its height is 7.2 meter and it weighs over 3 tons. And there is an inscription is also there that is written in Sanskrit and mention about a king ruler, that is Chandra, most probably who belonged to Gupta dynasty. Okay, so this is the iron pillar. Now the second one is the stupas. The word stupas means a mound. It is a dome-shaped structure built to house relics of the Buddha or other important figure. So it is a mound and dome-shaped structure is there. Now what are the features of stupas? So it is hemispherical dome shape and a central chamber is there for relics. Okay, so first of all it is hemispherical and secondly a central chamber is there for the relics. Now it is surrounded by railings with beautifully curved gateways. Okay, so railings are there and gateway is also there. Pradakshina path was laid around the stupas. People walk around stupas in circular path. So there is a path is also there and that is known as Pradakshina path and people used to walk around the circular motion in that path around the stupas. The Great Stupa at Sanchi, that is in Madhya Pradesh, and Amravati Stupa, Andhra Pradesh are famous stupas. They are hemispherical in shape and a central chamber is also there and it is surrounded by railings and Pradakshina path is also there. Now what are the common features of early Hindu temples? So during the same time stupas were being built, early Hindu temples were also developing. These temples laid the foundation for the grand architectural style seen in the later periods such as the Nagara and the Dravida style, that is the northern and the southern style. Garbhagriha is there in the temples where the inner chamber where the deity's idol was placed. Mandapa is there, a hall for devotee, and Shikhar is there, that is a tower above the Garbhagriha developed in later temples. Intricate carving also found in these early Hindu temples were depicting stories from the Hindu epics like the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. So these are the common features of early Hindu temples we seen when the stupas were being built and early Hindu temples were also developing. Okay, so this is the common feature of early Hindu temples. Now let us proceed with the next one. Now, how were stupas and temples built? So, how these stupas and temples were built? Usually, king or queen decided to build stupas and temple as it was an expensive affair because it needed a lot of money. So, that's why king and queen are going to decide where stupas and temples are going to be built. First, good quality stone had to be found, quarried and transported to the place that was often carefully chosen for the new building. So stone have been, first of all, a good quality stone have been found and then later on they have been transported to the place where it has been chosen for building the new building. Now these rough blocks of stone had to be shaped and curved into pillars and panels for wall, floor and ceiling. Now these block of stones are used for the panel, for the floor and the ceiling. And then this had to be placed in precisely the right position. So after that this has to be put in the right position so that the building may look beautiful. King and queen probably spent money from their treasury to pay the craft person who worked to build this splendid structure. So king and queen used to pay the money for the craft person. Besides, when devotees came to visit the temple or the stupa, they often brought gifts which were used to decorate the buildings. So the devotees, they used to come and they bring some gifts also, and that has been used to decorate the buildings. Among the others who paid for decoration were the merchants, farmers, garland maker, perfumers, smith and hundreds of men and women who are known only by their names, which were inscribed on pillars, railings, and walls. So there is a lot of contribution of the people like the merchant, farmer, garland maker, and the common men and women. They all support for the building of stupas and temples. Okay. However, generally the king or the queen decide to build because it was an expensive affair, and later on the people used to contribute whatever they can contribute in the building of stupas and temple. They used to contribute. Okay. So this is the stupas and temple. Let us see in the buildings. After we will see the paintings. So what are the paintings? Ajanta caves are 30 rock-cut Buddhist cave monument. Here several caves were hollowed out of the hills over centuries. So it is here in the Maharashtra. Most of these were monasteries for Buddhist monks, and some of them were decorated with paintings. As the caves are dark inside, most of these paintings were done in the light of torches. So very beautiful paintings are there, and it is here in the Maharashtra, Ajanta caves. So it is famous as a Buddhist cave monument. Earlier light was not there, so cave was very dark, but these paintings were done in the light of torches. The color which are vivid even after 1500 years were made of plants and minerals. So the color for the painting that has been used were made up of plants and minerals. The artists who created this splendid work of art remain unknown. However, the artists who have created the painting is still unknown to the people. So this is about the painting. The world of books. Tamil literature has a rich tradition of epic poetry, especially from the Sangam and the post-Sangam period. Silpadikaram, that is composed by a poet named Ilango around 1800 years ago. So Silpadikaram was an Tamil literature that was composed by the poet named Ilango, and it was around 1800 years ago. The story follows Kovalan, a wealthy merchant of Puhur, lived with his wife Kanagi. Okay, so two characters are here: Kovalan, who live in Puhur, with his wife Kanagi. Now, Kovalan falls in love with a courtesan named Madhavi and neglect his wife, and later on left Puhur and went to Madurai with Madhavi. So now they have been shifted from Puhur to Madurai with his new wife Madhavi. He later tries to rebuild his life but is wrongly accused of the theft and sentenced to death. So he was sentenced to death. Kanagi was full of anger and injustice and destroyed the entire city of Madurai. So she take the revenge and prove that her husband Kovalan was innocent, and destroy the entire city of Madurai. So this is the story about the Silpadikaram. So that is written by the Ilangu. Okay, so this was famous at the time. The Tamil literature was very much famous. Another important story that was famous, that is Mani Mekalai, that was also famous. So Mani Mekalai was composed by Satnar around 1400 years ago, and the story follows Mani Mekalai, the daughter of Kovalan and Madhavi from Silapadikaram. Okay, so that is the story of about the daughter of the Kovalan and Madhavi, that is Mani Mekalai. She chooses a life of renunciation and Buddhist teaching instead of material pleasure. These beautiful compositions were lost to scholars for many centuries till their manuscripts were rediscovered about 100 years ago. So these beautiful composition, these stories were just missing till the manuscripts were found and rediscovered, and then the people came to know about the story of Mani Mekalai, and this is Silapadikaram. So earlier Tamil literature was very much rich in tradition of epic, and these two were very much famous. Okay, that is the Silapadikaram and Mani Mekalai. Now, recording and preserving of old stories. How the old stories were recorded and preserved earlier. A number of Hindu religious stories that were in circulation earlier were written down around the same time. So let us see how these were recorded and preserved. Purans were written in simple Sanskrit words and were meant to be heard by everybody, including women and Shudras who were not allowed to study the Vedas. So in this way, the stories were recorded. Purans contain stories about god and goddesses such as Vishnu, Shiva, Durga or Parvati. Purans were probably recited in temples by priests, and people came to listen to them. Okay. Two Sanskrit epics, the Mahabharata and Ramayana, had been popular for a very long time. The Mahabharata is about a war fought between Kaurav and Pandavas who were cousins. This was a war to gain control of the throne of the Kurus and their capital Hastinapur. Okay, so this was a war between the two cousins, that is the Kaurav and the Pandav, and they were after the throne and their capital Hastinapur. The Ramayana is about Rama, a prince of Koshalya who was sent into exile. So these two epics were also very much famous. So earlier the recording was done like the Puranas were there and then Sanskrit epics were there. In this way the stories were preserved. Now how the stories were told by the ordinary people? Some stories were told by the ordinary peoples also. Ordinary people also told stories, composed poem and song, dance and perform plays. Now how they do, let us see. Jataka tales share stories about the past lives of Buddha shared by the monks. And another one is the Panchatantra are the stories with animal character teaching wisdom and practical knowledge. So Jataka and Panchatantra are famous stories told by the ordinary people. Now some books were also written on science. So let us see writing books on science. Aryabhatta, a mathematician and astronomer, wrote a book in Sanskrit known as Aryabhattam. He stated that the day and night were caused by the rotation of the earth on its axis. He developed a scientific explanation for eclipse as well. He also found a way of calculating the circumference of a circle which is nearly as accurate as the formula we use today. So earlier this book was very much famous. Aryabhatta has written. He was a mathematician and astronomer also. He just stated about the day and night. Then he also developed and gave the explanation about the eclipse and also found a way of calculating the circumference of a circle. So finally, ancient India has a remarkable legacy in architecture, painting and literature which continues to inspire us today. Okay, so this is the topic about the buildings, paintings and the books. So if you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe.